If you're researching your move to Southern California or Riverside County, chances are you more than likely come across a small town with a very familiar name but a not very familiar spelling in Perris, California, which of course is a smaller town in the IE, the Inland Empire, with a population of about 82,000. Located between Riverside and Temecula, the city has a lot to offer, but also a lot to be desired. Today we're going to go over what's drawing people to the city, as well as what may be inspiring them to look elsewhere, like neighboring cities like Menifee, Beaumont, Temecula, Moreno Valley, San Jacinto, to name a few. As a local realtor who works all over Southern California, I want to give you an in-detail and in-depth look at what it looks like to live in the city of Perris in 2025. The good and really the not so great. What is up, guys? Thank you and welcome back to the channel, Living in This. You have more of a doorway. Now, a little bit about the city. It was incorporated in the year of 1911 and named after Fred T. Perris, one of the main engineers of the Southern California Railroad. But first, my name is Justin King. My wife Allison and I run a small real estate team here in Southern California. We specialize in helping folks like you relocate all over the country. If there's anything we can do for you, do not hesitate to reach out. Days, nights, evenings, weekends, we're here to serve and support you on the highest possible level. Whether that's a week from now or 10 years from now, we're here to help. Now let's get into the pros and cons of living in the city of Perris, California. Okay, now pro number one is going to be affordability. So really, let's start with what most people are curious about when they first stumble onto my channel. It's going to be, what can I afford in California and what does this look like at this budget? Compared to areas like Los Angeles, Orange County, or even nearby Marietta and Riverside, Perris offers significantly more bang for your buck. In mid-2025, the median average sales price in the city is right around $550,000 when you compare that to California as a whole, which is about $790,000. You can see what would drive people to this area. Now, with that said, Perris does have a lot of options as far as housing, condos, mobiles, of course, tons of tract housing, which they're building very aggressively on. And off the top of my head, I think there's four new build construction properties, 4 new build communities coming in. I have video tours on, I believe, all of them now. If not, I'll have them up in the next month. Feel free to take a look at those as well. There's also a lot of ranch style housing, farm style housing when you get to more the east side of the city. With that being said, Perris does offer a lot of opportunity for folks looking at any style of housing you can imagine. Okay, so in pro number 2, we're going to say location. It's hard to beat location with Perris. It's right off the 215 freeway. You're not far from Riverside. You're about 30 minutes away. You're about 40 minutes, maybe 35 from wine country. So yeah, easy access, like I said, to the 215, where they're constantly adding new exits because the city's growing so rapidly. You also have Highway 74, which could get you to Elsinore or the 5 pretty quickly. And for reference, where it is in Southern California compared to other areas, Big Bear's about an hour and a half away, maybe about an hour, depending on the lower mountain cities like Crestline or Arrowhead. LA is going to be about an hour and a half away, depending on traffic, of course. Vegas, you're about 4 to 4.5 hours. And of course, I think I already mentioned wine country in Temecula, which is really not that far away. You're about 35 minutes away from a really great weekend. So whether you're commuting for work or just looking for a weekend getaway, you pretty much have it covered within less than an hour. All right, pro number 3 for Perris, California is going to be outdoor recreation. If you're into unique experiences or outdoor adventures, Perris pretty much has you covered. So you got Perris Skydive, which brings in a ton of tourism. The Southern California Railway Museum, like I said, one of the original founders of Perris was one of the original engineers for the Southern California Railway. Perris Auto Speedway, which offers demolition derby, all sorts of car racing. Sometimes they have flat track motorcycles. There's also Drop Zone Water Park, which is a full water park, which kids enjoy. They have a lazy river there. It seems to be a pretty cool area that people really like. There's Perris Raceway MX for all the motocross enthusiasts. Also, Lake Elsinore Raceway isn't too far away. Then one of the big attractions for the area, and I think everyone knows this one, is going to be the actual Lake Perris. It's more on the Moreno Valley side, but there is access on Perris off the Ramona Expressway backside of it. Boating, hiking, camping, fishing, etc. And then there's a ton of areas within probably about 20 minutes where if you have RVs, trailers, tent camping, you can do all that. So also within not too far away, you also got Joshua Tree, hour and a half away, camping, stargazing, rock climbing. And then you got the mountains about an hour and a half away for skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking. And then of course the beaches are about an hour away if you're into that. Okay, and then pro number 4 is going to be, of course, the weather. It's hard to beat Southern California weather. The city's climate is similar to a lot of the other IE areas, Inland Empire areas that I cover, in that it is Mediterranean, where it's not quite desert, not quite coastal. So you get a little bit of best of both worlds. So what you can expect is sunny days for most of the year. Not a very long or harsh rainy season, although every couple of years we do get pretty gnarly rains. And then the flip side of that, every probably 5 to 7 years we get drought warnings. And then through about July, August, maybe partially September, we always have the chance of 100-degree days. It's not really the norm, but we do probably get about 14 days total of 100-degree weather. And of course, those hot days are not humid like the East Coast or like, say, the coastal areas, so it's a little bit different of a heat. They say it's a dry heat, but if you go to Palm Springs in Arizona, you would not call our heat a dry heat. But with that said, we do have low humidity and milder winters where we don't have a long rainy season, like I said, a little bit longer of a summer season, which is nice if you enjoy summer and being outdoors and doing things during that time. So, and warning with that, make sure to adjust your irrigation accordingly. Personally, I usually have mine off from about Thanksgiving until about the first week of April. Usually bump up the water a little bit during the summer months, but nobody really, if you're on it, you don't really have a problem with your lawn. Okay, now pro number 5. This is going to be 5 of 5. It's going to be family friendly and diverse community. So even with such a small population, I think, like we said, about 82,000, Perris is on average very young and culturally rich. Random stat I was able to find on this: the average adult in the city of Perris is about 31 and a half years old. There's a strong mix of culture, ethnic backgrounds, and community perspectives, which I can attest to. A lot of people that I talk to looking to relocate from like Orange County or LA are asking me about Perris. But we also do have a lot of people moving from San Diego and Temecula. And typically with the driving factor, bringing them out this way is more affordable housing or more bang for your buck. And to speak to the family friendly side, there's a lot of parks, sports fields, and school options. I think it is very fair to say the community is very family focused and driven. There's also, like I think I said already, there's a lot of new builds coming into the area. A lot of those new builds are building their own sports complexes, which is actually really cool. So those are the 5 pros. Now we're gonna go over 3 cons. So con number 1, no surprise, it's gonna be traffic and commute times. I think you could say that with pretty much any city in Southern California, but commuting during peak times can be rather frustrating. The main freeway going through the city, the 215, it can back up pretty bad during peak hours. You got people, like I said, commuting to and from. So you got a lot of people heading home to Menifee, Marietta, they go right through Perris. You got a lot of people commuting back up to Moreno Valley, Riverside from those previously mentioned cities. So it's just backed up all the way through. So of course that's mainly during peak hours after like 4 until about 6. And like I said, the city's growing, so they've been adding a lot of off-ramps, widening the freeways, adding more options, which helps. It definitely does help. And also, there are ways around those freeways. If you want to take the 74, that could get you to the 5 a little bit quicker. You can take Ramona Expressway, which will get you to Corona a little bit quicker, not have to deal with those interchanges. And there's also Railroad Canyon, which is more of a Menifee street, but it serves the same purpose. But a lot of people I talk to lately these days, they have remote work, they have flexible schedules, so that helps with what would be their pain and frustration. I mean, basically eliminates it. All right, so con number 2 is gonna be a very limited job market. With such a small population, they're not gonna be able to support, much bigger businesses or a very strong job field. So with that said, Perris isn't a very strong employment hub, but there are options in nearby Riverside, Temecula, Ontario, Rancho, etc. if you're trying to stay as close as possible. But within the city, jobs are limited more towards warehousing, service type jobs, and government type jobs. So most professionals I know that move to the city end up either commuting or they're coming out here because get word that their job is going to build facilities out here, and a lot of those are white collar jobs, engineering, medical, etc. All right, now con number 3, I think is no surprise as well. It's gonna be the hot summers. A lot of people coming from more of the coastal areas, like the Orange counties and the LAs, they're used to kind of that perfect weather all year round. We have just kind of outside of that. And really, like I mentioned before, we really only have like pretty bad heat for a few weeks out of the year. Starts in late July, can happen in August, and then kind of does happen every now and then in September. But it's a drier heat, which is manageable for most folks, but some people just really don't like it. So it's definitely something to prepare for and plan around, like when you're looking at homes regarding the HVAC system. Is it newer? Does it even have it? Some of the older homes, like from pre-1960, don't. And also, is the landscape suited to the climate? And is it something you can manage or are willing to manage? But if it really is that big of an issue, we could always find you a pool home. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. The pros were more affordable housing. Average out this way in Perris is about $550,000. Great central location for commuting. Outdoor activities galore like Lake Perris, hiking, etc. Pro number four, sunny, dry climate, hard to beat. And number 5, of course, the diverse, family-friendly vibe that the city offers. And to recap the 3 cons, peak traffic hours can be kind of a bummer. Limited job market, and the summer heat can be a little intense. And of course, that brings us to the end. Thank you guys for watching if you made it this far. And if you're considering a move to Perris or any other of the surrounding areas, do not hesitate to reach out. We'd love to help you with any questions you have regarding school districts, neighborhoods, areas, housing style, what X amount gets you in what city versus another city, or really just narrowing down some home options for yourself. You can call, text, email, what have you, days, nights, evenings, weekends. We're here to serve and support you on the highest possible level. Also, don't forget to subscribe as we do post videos weekly. Thank you again for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.